Hey guys, Flare Chicks Pixel signing back on. Yeah, and I'm going to be reading once more Chapter 2, Part 2. Pain is no game. Last time, a groan from her right made her look up with alarm saw Twilight on the ground, seemingly unable to move. Twilight! She called to the downed unicorn and began walking over to her. She suddenly started to feel her hind legs go numb, followed shortly by her forelegs. She collapsed to the ground, her vision became blurred, and she was unable to hear anything. Just a faint ringing. Hold on. Tea. Thumbs up if you like tea. Hold on. I'm really thirsty. If you just heard a soft bang, that was my brother. Hold on, I'll be right back. Could you not bang on the door? I am trying to record here. Love you. Door shut. There we go. Sorry, my brother, he's a security officer. He just came home, and it's 10:38. Well past my bedtime. I don't like bedtimes. Bedtime suck. Okay. Ow! Crap. Just smashed my finger. I want my chocolate, and I don't want to walk out of my room because I'm too lazy. Plus, I got you guys. My friends. Okay. Her vision became blurred as she went in, and she was unable to hear anything. Just a faint ringing, with a small cry for help. She could only make out 4 ponies running up to her in Twilight before darkness encircled her again. That was happened last video. The first thing she saw when she opened her eyes was a bright light. At first she thought it was the sun, and she was next to it. She closed her eyes again until the world went dark once more. She opened and closed them for a while until she could make out where she was. Fluttershy soon recognized that she was in her own bed and found herself facing a bookshelf and table. She sat upright and ran a hoof down her mane, feeling it sticking up in places and doing her best to rub them down. She groggily got out of bed and began walking towards the window. As soon as she put her right leg forward and down, it gave way and she fell onto one knee. She sat upright and started pressing and offending. How do you offend a leg? Whatever. A leg down. If you know what that meant, like pressing and offending. Oh. Pressing the offending leg. Oh. Sorry. I'm bad at reading. Leg down onto the ground until she felt sure it would take her weight. She tried again, this time with great success, and walked to the window and opened it, looking outside and breathing in the fresh, cool air. Okay. Guess where she woke up and how long she's been out. When y'all last listened to this, she passed out. Guess how long she was passed out for. Spam up the comments with that. And maybe I'll give you a shout out. Maybe. Don't say I will. Okie dokie dokie. Where am I? The day was a true summer's day. 1 or 2 clouds were hanging overhead of her cottage, however, but that wasn't much to complain about since rogue clouds came over from the Everfree forest many times. She looked into the garden and could see a few birds heading back into their nests in the birdhouse that she made. She saw her chickens running about, pecking at the chicken feed that had been left on the ground. She smiled as she watched a squirrel pick up some nuts that had dropped from the ground and proceeded up to the tallest tree. She guessed that the nuts must be to feed his family inside. Then she looked over to where the sun would usually be rising in Equestria in a new day. "Oh no!" she squeaked when she noticed the sun wasn't where it should be. "It must be the afternoon. I hadn't been And I had it kill me. I can't read. And I hadn't fed any of my animals yet. Oh, Fluttershy, you selfish pony. She hopped around and made her way to the stairs in a gallop. She froze when she heard the sound of hoofsteps coming. And the footsteps of hoofsteps coming downstairs, and seemed to be humming. She squeaked and dived under her bed, shaking violently, unsure what to do. Unsure if Angel is all right, although the first thing that sprang to her mind was him with the sword in his paw, fighting the intruder before dying dramatically. With the sword in his paw, fighting the intruder before dying dramatically. Yep. Good job, Fluttershy. Really thinking outside the box. As soon as she thought it, Fluttershy declared the ideas as ludicrous. Besides, why would she have a sword? She thought about diving out the window and getting Applejack and Rainbow Dash to help, but she didn't want to interrupt them, and the intruder could make off with a lot of her possessions while she was gone. Eventually, she decided to see who this pony was, and see if they would politely leave. You never do that, Fluttershy. Getting on her belly, she crawled out from under her bed and crawled across her bedroom to make her way down the stairs. She craned her neck to see through the gap and gasped at what she was seeing. Twilight Sparkles stood at the center of her living room, with her back to her, an Angel on her back with all her brooms, brushes, and other cleaning materials. And zoning out, with brushes and other cleaning materials that she had all over the place, guided by Twilight's magic. Okay, Twilight said, checking off another item on the list that was hovering in front of her. She turned her head to the rabbit on her back. That takes care of the house, that takes care of the house. What's next, Angel? Fluttershy got back on her hooves and moved back down the stairs to make herself visible to the unicorn. Twilight? She called. At once, Twilight's horn stopped glowing and everything crashed to the ground. Twilight turned around slowly to face Fluttershy, who had now moved from the top of the stairs and into the living room. Her eyes widened in shock and surprise. Oh, I'm so sorry, Fluttershy squeaked. I didn't mean to startle you like that. It was just that I was sleeping in. Well, I must have laid in late, and I didn't realize it was you. I thought it was an intruder, and she realized she was rambling and covered her mouth over with the hoof to stop. A few seconds later, she removed it and said, How are you? How are you? Twilight disappeared in a flashlight, only to reappear in front of the Pegasus and wrap her legs around her in a tight hug. Fluttershy gasped for air and tried to loosen Twilight's grip around her, but stopped when she heard the Twilight. Yeah, new species. Twilights. When she heard the unicorn starting to cry. The Pegasus relaxed and wrapped her legs around Twilight and gently rubbed the hoof down her friend's back. It's okay, Twilight, she cooed softly. It'll be okay. Just let it all out. Now, Fluttershy doesn't know what in the hay is going on here. What in the hay is going on here? Who remembers that from chapter 1? Spam up the comments. She didn't need to ask what was wrong. She could clearly see that Twilight was pained by something and knew she would be told later. But right now, the unicorn needed comforting and a friend. After a few moments, Twilight lifted her head out of Fluttershy's chest and looked her in the eyes, a big smile across her face, and her eyes brimming with delight. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry about this. It's silly of me, I know, but I'm just so happy to see that you're finally awake. When it came out like that. Twilight sobbed. And I know things are going to be better from now on. Okay, sorry, I was trying to see if something worked, but it doesn't. La 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 la. Twilight sobbed. And I know things are going to be better from now on. Fluttershy gave Twilight a look of confusion. What do you mean, finally awake? Twilight's own smile faded as she cocked her head slightly to the side. You mean, you don't remember the dragon attack? Fluttershy's eyes widened, and in a split second it came to her. The spa date with Faraday, going to the market for apples, the dragon attacking, getting separated from them, in panic, confronting the dragon, and finally the smell of burning skin. Her own skin. Fluttershy stepped back from Twilight in panic. That was real? Oh no, I thought it was a dream. Where is everybody? Is everyone okay? Are you okay? Twilight placed her hooves on the Pegasus' shoulder and shook her gently to calm her down. Fluttershy, it's okay, she shouted. We're all okay, thanks to you. Why? Fluttershy asked frantically. Why me? What happened? Sorry, my voice is slightly cracking. Why me? What happened? Twilight motioned for Fluttershy to sit on the couch and told her to wait a while. She made tea and cleaned up the room with a flick of her horn, and the cleaning materials were gone back into the cupboard up the stairs. As Fluttershy waited, Angel, who had been waiting for Twilight to get out of the way, leaped up to Pegasus' lap and gave her a big hug. Oh, Angel, she said to the bunny, I'm so sorry I worried you like that. I promise I won't do anything like that again. If y'all haven't guessed how long she's been asleep, y'all are gonna freak out when you do. Notification! No. No. A few moments later, Twilight came back from the kitchen with a tray of cups and a pot of tea on it. She levitated onto a table and allowed the Pegasus to have a few sips to calm her nerves before beginning her story. You are amazing, Fluttershy, Twilight began. According to Applejack, you walked right up to that dragon and scolded it before the damage it had done. And scolded it for the damage it had done. Sorry. She paused a moment, her smile faded before continuing. And then you disappeared in flames. And when the smoke cleared, all that was left of you was a burnt-out hole. Fluttershy's jaw dropped, and she clung to Angel tighter than she should have done. The bunny letting out a gasp of protest. Oh, sorry, Angel. She let the bunny go and faced Twilight once again. Please continue. Twilight nodded. Well, after a while, you started getting back up. Your burnt body rehealed almost instantly. Then you flew right up to the dragon and started speaking to it in a language. Well, she couldn't tell me. She couldn't tell me because she couldn't understand it. But its effects were clear. As soon as you stopped speaking, the dragon flew away into the sky and fled north with its tail between its legs. And then you collapsed trying to reach me. After checking to see if you and I were alive, Applejack and Rainbow took us both to the hospital, but only one bed was available, so it was decided that I was the worst off, so they took me in. I wouldn't have had it any other way. Fluttershy interrupted. Oh, sorry. You can go on, she said upon noticing Twilight's look. Yeah, anyway, Twilight continued. I turned out I only had a few broken ribs, which was pretty much your entire body from the impact, and was internally bleeding in various places. The doctors didn't know whether I would recover or not. Meanwhile, Rainbow took you back to here and put you in bed, comforted Angel, and waited until the doctor came to check on you. Well, Applejack stayed with me. Ow, my arm! Stayed with me to see if I would be well looked after, and then came over here with the doctor. The doctor said that you were in a coma, but it wasn't a coma, so to speak, because you were moving without breathing normally if you were sleeping. But the doctor couldn't think of what else to call it, so he called it that. But I would call it sort of a suspension. like a hibernation, Fluttershy said. Excuse me. It would explain why I haven't lost weight, and why it was difficult to get out of bed. Yeah, it seems more like it seems more like that, Twilight said with a smile. Anyway, the doctor said, though, she paused to hold back tears that were about to burst through again. You might never wake up again. Twilight took a minute to compose herself and continued. Pinkie ran off in tears, apparently, and Rainbow left in a mix of rage and despair, angry that the doctor couldn't do anything. So Applejack and Rarity said they would look after you and the animals until you woke up. Fluttershy was stunned. So how long have I been in a coma for? Okay, you're gonna find out how long she was in there. Okay. It's been about a month now, Twilight answered grimly. And that is the end of Chapter 2, Part 2. Now I'm going to do Chapter 2, Part 3 in just like 5 seconds. This is, yeah. Give me comments. Spam it up about what you think. And, you know, go on the Wattpad. Find Rad Brony. Find me. Spam up our chat box. Scream at him for how you made Fluttershy die and then resurrects. But you're going to love the story later on. So, this is Flutterchicks Pixel, signing off. Adios, mi amigos.